Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Come hit it, cleanse your soul. Yeah, 4-4 and go. That other getting old. We got Sam right in time. This is a sports octagon. Sports for forever and beyond. Spend it with Sam Ryan time. From the puck to the glove to the pigskins high. Share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. Down the baseline in the bleachers, or you wanna get denied. Yeah, share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. 4-4 and go. Come hit it, cleanse your soul. Yeah, it's 4-4 and go. Come hit it, cleanse your soul.
The Browns Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, listen, when we start talking about what wins Super Bowl, we talk about talent. The Browns, they have the talent. They have it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, hopefully everyone liked our little presentation of a quick weekend review. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. What a hot week we had this weekend, man. It was a great weekend. Well, I'm Ryan, by the way, if you guys don't know, and it would be the right of me is going to be Sam, and beneath us here is going to be Big Time Tom.
So, guys.
Covered a couple games this weekend, and what an exciting week it was. But before we get into that, how are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Recovering from a great weekend of football, and preparing for a second great weekend of football.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a crazy. Oh my gosh, that weekend in football was nuts. I loved it every second. My legs are still on fire from standing on top of that press box. I'll tell you what. But I'm going to tell you right now, my calf muscles are going to be godlike here in a few weeks, guys. Oh, my God. Just wait. I'm going to be a calf model like Chad Ochocinco here, Stan.
Yeah, so this weekend, guys, we covered Lakeside versus West Geauga, and then we also got to cover the Madison versus Geneva game. Both exciting games. Both kind of came down to the wire, but it was a lot of fun. Lots and lots of fun. You all right over there, Sam? You're looking down.
No, I'm trying to get all the shares done. I didn't have enough time to prepare today.
Yeah, we were.
Highlight reel was only like a minute.
Yeah. Well, I told you it was only going to be a minute and a half or whatever.
Dude,
it is.
I have small legs. It takes me all day to do these things.
Oh man, but yeah, it was a great weekend. Really exciting weekend. A couple of the games got delayed till Saturday.
Yeah, dude, You could not have started the high school football season off better than that. So we get at least around here, the unicorn of games with a game winner that we're going to discuss here in just a bit. And then we follow on a game where it looked like it was going to get out of hand. And then the boys start fighting. And they miss it, it was very Friday Night Lights-esque. Like, I had that same pit in my stomach at the end of that game. I was like,
yeah, we were yelling and hollering and having a good time, man. It was great. It really was. Big shout out again to Mr. Baxter over there at Lakeside, letting us up into the crow's nest. That was great to be able to cover the game, share it with everyone. I think we got up to one time. We were up to almost like 80 viewers, which was a blast to see everyone on there chiming in.
Well, you know what else? We got to send a shout out to Chip as well.
Yep.
For pulling the strings to get us in the Spire so we could get some coverage in there. And, we appreciate all that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was one heck of a ride this weekend. I'm looking forward to Friday and Saturday night again coming up, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. Tonight, just so everyone knows, we'll be running just about an hour somewhere in that ballpark area. But let's just dive right into it because we got a lot to cover, a little bit of time. So here I say dive into. I don't even have these numbers pulled up. 1 second. I'll get it. I promise you I'll get it. The typical COVID-19 update. I didn't even put update there. Just relax. Here it comes. I swear.
Why use lot
shift over?
You word do trick.
What was that episode, Tom? When he talked about breaking a TV over shrimp or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. When they announced that The Office is going to be the documentary. Now, at Poor Richard's, we're going to be having a watch party because some of us charged our television with an unlimited shrimp when they saw it. But just know,
the best.
But just know, you don't have to have a broken TV to come watch it at Poor Richard's.
All right, anyways, quick COVID-19 update. We're not going to stay long on this, but 612 cases in Ashtabula County, 46 deaths. We had a uptick of 2 in the state of Ohio. Total of cases, 125,895 between day before and today, and then 10 plus deaths. So it seems like we're staying on an even keel there. No real big skyrocket shots. But we will see. A lot of football opened up this weekend, so we'll see how that changes everything, or doesn't. And hopefully, it doesn't change anything. That's the goal with all this. So, let's get into just talking to a little bit about Geneva versus Madison. So that was a game to watch. It came down to the wire. 7 seconds left. And real quick, I got to put this up on the bottom of the screen. Mr. Yost was the man of the hour. Let me give me 1 second. Find it. We got so many images now. Pop it up.
Go ahead and
take that off.
There you go.
Gotcha. So 440 and goals. Player of the week this week was Geneva High School Eagles kicker Ethan Yost. What a great boot he put out there. It was so fun to watch, and the funniest part about the whole thing was his mother was standing right behind us the whole time. We had no idea. That was the best. And we did get to talk to her a little bit, and she basically was shaking in her boots. It was a blast. But just in case you guys didn't see it, let me throw up the game-winning kick. Give me 1 second.
Geneva for the win.
Snap down, kick is up.
It is
good.
So that was the game-winning kick, covered by me and Sammy that night. But it was a lot of fun to watch that. Couldn't believe it. Just one of those unbelievable moments that, that kid's going to take home and ride with him the rest of his life because of that being the in-county rival. So,
let's talk about the game here. So Ethan Yost pulls out, like you said, Yost does the most, hits the big kick at the end. That's a lot on the plate of a kid that early in the season for a game that big. a game that was up and down, a roller coaster through the whole time. You know, you had turnovers plaguing both teams. Both teams have a little bit of trouble, you know, turnovers there, giving the ball back and forth, defensive stops happening. You know, Geneva's getting some momentum, and then Madison takes it back, and then Geneva takes it back. Geneva ends up with a muffed punt. Madison ends up with a blocked field goal kick. I mean, it was so, you know, Madison has some passing working throughout the game. You know, they get the passing working. And the name escapes me. I'm sorry. Madison's quarterback actually deserves, you know, a hand because he actually played a very good game. And I think what happened is Madison thought they found something, and then they started to test Geneva. They tried to test Geneva. And is it Zane Francis, I want to say, that comes up with the interception?
I think, I think it was Zane Francis. He came up with the interception near the end zone. Totally changes the momentum of the game. That was insane.
Or no,
the whole game was.
I think it actually is Cole Smith.
Wait, no, it was Cole Smith. It was because he had 3 moments in that game. He played a large part in that game.
So, yeah, you want to talk about highs, lows, and getting back to the high again.
Yeah.
Cole Smith, they're going all over. They're passing all over the field. And if you remember, that's one of the things we talked about with Geneva that I worried about was how are you going to be able to defend the pass? Because you see, you know, you can't practice if you don't throw a bunch. Cole Smith, who has 1 low point but 2 high points. So the kid's doing all right. You know, he makes a big interception, picks the ball right out of the air. It's not even like it was an error throw either. There's a wide receiver right there. He goes up, gets the ball, and then, you know, later in the game has, you know, a tough problem when it's 14 all. It's fourth quarter. They punt the ball.
Special teams play.
And you know.
Let me bring that play up real quick. Yeah, I was going to say, let me bring that play up so everyone can see what we're talking about.
Get the ball on a punt.
Not that great of a punt. Let it go.
He's going to let it go. Oh, no.
So that is the play where Cole Smith muffed it, unfortunately. And I'm sure that was a real big learning experience for that young man, knowing, and I'm sure he got chewed out a little bit, but
that's the thing. That was the thing. Is Coach Sorber? We talked to him right after the game, and he didn't. My worry was, you know, how as a high school player do you come back from that? How as a high school player do you not let that get the best of you? Well, this story has a happy ending because Geneva pulls a rabbit out of the hat. They get the stop. They block the field goal kick. And then on that drive, big shout out. I know he's watching. Matthew Pete changes the pace. And he puts that big 6'5" quarterback in the no huddle and starts slinging that ball around the yard. And who other than Cole Smith makes the big catch, puts him in field goal position to redeem himself and give them another shot.
Yeah, let me. I'm going to play that clip of Cole Smith making that big catch. The redemption play is what I've been calling it. Sounds cool, but hold on one second. Here we go. Ooh, no sound on this one.
Scabona goes back, drops a dime on. Look at this. Boom.
Cole Smith.
And there you go.
Yep.
Right there.
So you have to take into account when you're looking at this, it may look like just a regular old catch, a regular old toss and catch, but you have to take into account it's the fourth quarter. I want to say there was like 11 or 12 seconds left on the clock.
Yes.
Because after that play, there was 7.
Hurry up, got up, spiked it. Yeah.
So they have to
they burnt through their timeouts. Yeah.
Yeah, they bust butt to the line. And to James Turner, Lakeside this week they play Chagrin Falls at Chagrin Falls.
Yeah, and unfortunately, James, just so you know, you cannot get tickets to any of these games right now with COVID going on. Just so you have that heads up, it's only for the parents. But we will be streaming some Lakeside games this year. Anyways, go ahead.
So just kind of getting back to that. So it's like the table is set. We're over there and we're watching this, when we got a chance to go and do some media time with Geneva and Coach Sorber. One of the things we didn't, and not just him, by the way, none of the coaches let us see their kickers. It was like
You're right.
The biggest secret in the county was the kicker. Like to the point where we're like, do people kick? Is it still a thing?
That was my question. Because our buddy Coach Butchko over here, he's like, nah, man, go for 2 every time. So I'm like, some son of a gun, man.
Hey,
for all these guys,
I'm gonna start calling Butchko Woody. Because the only reason he goes for 2 is because he can't go for 3.
But real quick here, guys, I wanted to throw something in because we were talking about Matt Pete. Okay, so it wasn't just Matt. Matt Pete wasn't the only Pete that was contributing to the game plan for Geneva this week.
That is correct.
Brady Pete was giving us flashbacks to his older brother Blake Pete on that beautiful scamper into the end zone, man. I was from home, okay? So, like, you guys all saw, I was running the YouTube, which, by the way, Ryan, I was doing a fraction of what you do, and I was having a panic attack. So, I mean, kudos to you for doing what you did.
Oh, no. Matthew Pete just corrected us.
It was Dylan Hamilton who makes that catch.
No, well, I apologize.
He said, but Cole does make a big catch. All right.
He did. But Brady Pete, man, just that scamper in, it was beautiful. That kid's got amazing footwork and an amazing lower body to be able to do what he did.
Let's dive into that just a bit too. So in that game, you have Ben Scabona and you've got Charlie Taylor out there killing. I mean, Charlie Taylor, I said it about 100 times during the game. It's like trying to stop a dump truck. And then Ben Scabona he's 6'5", so he's like 3 steps for every 5 yards. So it's hard to get him. So the defense starts keying in on them, and here comes Brady Pete. Here comes Brady Pete. They said, if you're going to put all the attention there, he said, hey, buddy, I can score too.
Yeah. It's thunder and lightning in that backfield, man. You know what? It kind of reminds me, and this is, Sammy, I love to look through rose-colored lenses and be crazy. It reminds me of Lendell White and Reggie Bush, or Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown, if you remember those backfields. That's kind of the impression I was getting, man. I mean,
well, listen, here's what I see.
And Brady, I don't
know what the comparison is, but I do know this. I think defensive coordinators are taking a little bit extra time this week.
Oh, hell yeah.
And next week and for the next few weeks, because the Geneva offense has showed that not only can they beat you down on the ground, they can beat down the clock, and that defense ain't no slouch. So every time you touch the ball when you're going against the Geneva Eagles, you better be ready to score because you don't know if you're going to get it back.
Yeah,
correct.
That's what I mean. They were chewing up 4 and 5 minutes every single time they had the ball.
Absolutely.
So
and Charlie Taylor ends up.
Charlie Taylor
is right now, and I apologize because we are waiting to get some verified stats from Jefferson. We've got a couple glitches in the system for the Edgewood Perry game that we're trying to knock out too. So we don't have complete stats, but as it stands right now, Charlie Taylor of Geneva is the area rushing leader. Is the area rushing leader with 107 yards in that game.
Gosh, and I mean, just efficient running every time too. Like,
I mean, it's not.
He was good for 3, 4, 5 yards every single time he touched the ball.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I would play football with my cousins when I was a kid, and they were all like 8 years older than me. I'm just trying my damnedest to tackle these guys, and I'm like, I feel like the kid from Little Giants.
Right.
No, but honestly, big. It was a great game to watch. Coach Pete, Coach Sorber, Coach Shimsky, Coach Corlew, the whole squad. We want to thank you for allowing us. We're looking forward to covering you guys again against Butchko and the boys this Saturday. But it was really a fun game, and you know what else made it fun was it was a rivalry right off the game, right off the start. Yep. Not that so they had to limit the people in the stadium because of COVID, but you couldn't tell that when you were in the stadium because they were loud, they were cheering. Madison was pissed. It was great.
They were rolling. They were rolling, especially towards the end of that game, man. It was just a game. It was one heck of a way to start the season off. It really was. Really was.
Oh, it was awesome.
Let's get into a little bit of Lakeside versus West G. A lot of viewers out there were able to watch that with us. What a great game. Honestly, I hate to say it, Lakeside shot themselves in the foot quite a few times during that game. I think they had four turnovers during that game, 2 interceptions, a couple fumbles, maybe 3 interceptions, a couple fumbles. But I will say, look out for Lakeside after watching that game.
Oh my God, yes.
Look out for Lakeside because they have the talent, and there's a special player that I think is going to be showing up here soon. We'll wait and see before we go nuts with that. But
before we go into him, let's talk about another primetime player out there, and that is hold on, let me get to their stats too, because the overall leader in yardage in that game is the guy everybody should have been watching out for because they knew who he was, and that's Savion Colbert. Savion Colbert was a man amongst boys out there, and not just on the offensive side of the ball, coming up with big defensive interceptions, big tackles, keeping everything together. Savion Colbert, very impressive. Very impressive to watch. I'm not telling these coaches anything they don't know right now. This kid is special. Buzz Edwards is thanking the football gods because he's got a guy like that on his team. It's like a plug and play. He was all over the field all night long. It's great to see because this is a kid that, going through the ranks, all the way to his senior year now. And people they key on him. They keyed on, Jay-Sean Sanders, who is like the miniature version of Charlie Taylor. Another one that if Charlie Taylor is an F-150, then Jay-Sean Sanders is a Ford Ranger. They're both trucks. You're not going to be able to stop either one of them. Like one's just a little bit lower to the ground. Very impressive to get him, to watch him. And then you've got the change of pace guy who plays linebacker for him in Alec Raffa.
Oh my God!
Who comes out there and it is so fast.
That kid is beyond fast. It is absolutely insane how fast Mr. Raffa is. He flies. Let me show it. Go ahead, Tom.
Can we talk real quick 2 things about Savion Colbert before we move on? So first of all, a lot of those yards that he got were like on screen passes, and this catch just dinking and ducking everywhere, and he's getting through these defenders. And West G isn't a slouch on defense, man. They got that Trey Zimmerman kid.
He was something else. That dude was he was tough.
They were tough. But the second thing about Savion Colbert that impressed me the most, was we're leaving the game, and he's far away from us. But Sammy, you noticed him. And you're like, hey, Savion. And we were all like, hey, man, great game. And that kid right there, man, just, hey, thank you guys so much, man. I had a fun time, just so humble with it, man. Like that kid, that's a class act all around. And Buzz Edwards is coaching these kids up, not just to be great athletes, like prolific athletes out there with coming off of screen passes and stuff, getting what he got on those limited receptions.
Well,
being such a good kid, man, that's amazing.
You talked about a lot of those were quick hitters where he was pulling out all 119 of his yards receiving. And you got to give credit to the offensive coordinator. You got to give credit to the coach here too, because the wall blocking that they have going on there was legit. The boy had options on those plays, and he was going around. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Savion Colbert wasn't the only one to light up the receiving yards that night.
No.
There was another guy that most people only know from the basketball court, and this kid's name is Brandon Ford, who ends up with, count them, 10 receptions. 10 receptions in his first game as a football player since, I believe, freshman year for
99 yards.
99 yards, 10 receptions for 99 yards, with one of them being unbelievable. Go ahead, Ryan.
Let me play that
from Alabama. Oh my! Like when he goes off the helmet.
Yeah. Let Ryan.
Yeah. Here's the clip. Steps back, throws it. Look at this catch.
Seabanek puts one out there and lets his athletes get it.
And lets him have it. Just lets him have it. I almost want to play it one more time. Let me play it one more time.
Play it
It
one
was
more time.
that
I
great
love
of a catch. Just steps back, just puts it right on the money, only where he can get it. Just bounces all the way down. What a catch.
See, what
a
people
catch.
can't see in that clip is that corner is trying to slap the ball
the
out.
whole time.
He's got his arm in there. And Brandon Ford must have been having sure grip on that ball, because I'm talking about that ball didn't move.
No.
Even
he,
from
I
the
mean,
crow's
he
nest
had
where
it.
we're watching, I mean, we all looked at each other like,
how did that happen?
What
You don't see that in
see?
high school every day. You do not see that in high school every single day.
No.
Yeah, you know what? The last time I saw a play like that was in 2004. There was a tight end that got hit on a quick hitter, and he ran about 80 yards, and then somehow somebody tracked him down. And I believe they stripped the ball.
What was his name?
Old Big John Boy McCoy, who's joining the show tonight, baby. How you doing? How you doing there, Uncle John? But listen,
no, Brandon Ford.
One thing I can't shout out enough, Mr. Rafa. As fast as he is, I got a video clip of him running the ball off of a Lakeside screen pass. Make sure I get the right one, because it was this is it here. Great run, showing how fast this guy is.
All right, we got AJ Rafa on the catch.
Just
this
going
boy's got
upfield.
wheels and he's gone. That's touchdown. That's a touchdown.
For him to be able to dink and dive and get through there, he's got wheels.
And he's coming off because at that point, that's when Sanders goes down with the ankle.
Yes.
So Sanders was some trouble, and we won't comment to neither here nor there, but Sanders' helmet somehow ended up off of him about 3 different times in that game.
Yeah,
so on the third time, he ends up getting hurt, and Alec Rafa, who's having a hell of a night on defense, has to come in, and he's the backup guy
for Iron Man football.
Yeah, he comes in, and you see Siebenik right at that point. They were guarding him deep pretty well, because unfortunately he did have a couple interceptions that night, and they were on deeper throws. So they're watching that. So they're giving him those underneath routes because I don't think they respected it. Well, they should have respected it, because when Alec Rafa got the ball in his hands, it was curtains, baby. That dude took it to the house, and it wasn't a question.
Yeah, and you know what, defense, and I never remember this guy's name, and I think I've asked you, number 32. I know it's
Anthony Donahue. And you will remember his name right soon.
What a defensive night for that guy. He was in the backfield all night. Am I saying this right? We're talking about the same person, right? Yeah,
yes,
okay. Just make sure, right. Yeah, I mean, he was in West G's backfield all night. Buzz Edwards even complimented him on the post-game interview about him never stopping. He is always 100% full go, and you just can't stop him.
Dude, if I had that kid's motor, I would not be built like Danny DeVito. I wish I could run at least. I wish I could run at least half as much as he could, because that kid ran full go every play. There's never a play he takes off. Even when they're double teaming him and stuff like that, he's still getting through. He did put. We don't have the clip, I don't think, but he did put a big smack on that quarterback.
Yeah, he did.
In the game. I'm not sure.
We do have the clip. I would just have to dive through it and figure it out real quick, but we ain't got that much time.
Anthony Donahue is Bruce Banner when he turns into the Hulk. The more he fights, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, and you ain't gonna contain him. That kid, and he's a star track athlete, man. Like, this is just a kid that's built different.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's somebody. He's somebody that when you are going against Lakeside, you're going to have to be mindful of, because your center is going to get work. Your center is going to get work with that guy in front of you, and it's not just him. Like I said, you got Savion, Brandon Ford. Brandon Ford didn't just have the Odell Beckham Odell Beckham catch. He has a touchdown catch where he comes over, makes the catch, runs over the middle, finds his blocks, and gets into the end zone. Brandon Ford really did a good job of announcing himself like, hey, I'm here to play football. And for Ray Tirado's answer, Angelo Colazzo, who I'm assuming you're talking about, number 4 for the Lakeside Dragons,
he had a good
did
game.
play, and he did play well.
Yes, he did.
The kid is solid at corner. Very solid.
Yes, he is, man.
He had
10 snags in the game. You are right, John.
2 instances where I thought there was an interception, and then they just stopped throwing at him. And they tried their luck on the other side, and Savion Colbert said, "Don't disrespect me."
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Lakeside, once they put it together.
Angelo made an impact as a wide receiver as well. He had a couple receptions, and granted, it wasn't for big yards, but when you have to start paying attention to these guys underneath, it opens the door for the Brandon Fords to get downfield. It opens the door for the Alec Raffas to cut outside.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
John.
And then,
10 snags is impressive, particularly for a kid, and I cannot say this enough that we're getting to him, Marcus.
Marcus, don't worry.
We don't have clips, but I can't wait for Friday coming up to get some video clips of that man.
Yeah, but no, I cannot stress this enough. Brandon Ford is a kid that did not play football last year or his sophomore year. Comes out 10. Count them things, 10. There are kids right now that are starting for other teams that won't have 10 receptions on the year. This kid got 10 in one game as first game out. Impressive. Brandon Ford, way to be. Savion Colbert, way to be. Lakeside, you didn't come out on top. It sucks. Unfortunately, there was a turnover problem. You guys had a case of the dropsies when you shouldn't have, including one.
I was going to say, let me play the clip. This was one that was really devastating for all of us. I couldn't believe it happened when it did. Let me play this quick clip.
Soon we're going to see this go right up the pipe. Oh, no.
That is
Now that I'm listening to it, I sound like a disappointed father. I genuinely do. Oh, no.
It was that's probably, I think, the low point for us during the game. It was very disappointing, only because Lakeside had kicked tail to that point. I'm talking about the offense was moving. That's right off of the Brandon Ford big catch, I believe.
Oh, yeah. That one was earlier in the game. Brandon Ford's catch was hour and 48 minutes into the game. Sorry, I clipped I had to make the video edit. So that was one of their first drives. There was a big catch on
that drive, though. There was a big catch.
And there might have been. Right.
Yeah. But anyway, so they get the ball, they fumble on West G doesn't turn that into points. Lakeside makes another stop. And
so let's be realistic here. Lakeside doesn't fumble it on the 1 yard line.
They
punches it in. They win the ball game. That's just that's what it is. That's what it is. So my question for you guys is going to be: what does Lakeside do? So Lakeside lines up against Chagrin Falls this week coming up. What does Lakeside do to stop the turnovers? Are they putting it on the ground more? Or they keep with the air attack like they were? Because they were a good, I would say they were more of a 60-40 pass, to be honest with you, watching that game.
Well, Siebenik had 35 attempts in that game. They passed a lot. And even though he did have the 2 interceptions, the kid still threw for 265 yards, which is not too shabby. I think, that's what the coaches are going to focus on that. They're going to try and get him to calm down, maybe work his way through his tree a little bit easier. You've got the talent.
Oh, and you absolutely do.
That's a good one there, John. John says after a play like that, you let the Dave at Dublin know he is staying open till films the next morning. But,
no, it's a tough game. It's a tough night. But I think Lakeside's plan this going into this week. And I am not a coach. I am not a professional
assistant.
I'm not questioning anything. I'm just saying what I would do. I'm probably still going to let Siebenik run that, throw that ball, because the passes. First of all, you can't have that wide receiving core and not throw the ball.
Correct. What do they say? That's it. They say a quarterback's got to have the memory of a goldfish, right? He's got to forget that
something.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Lakeside has an addition.
They have a big addition.
Yeah.
So coming in on top of an already stacked wide receiving core and team of athletes, they get Sean Allgood's son, Sean Allgood, from Menor.
Yeah, from Menor.
So
it's going to be I can't wait for week 3.
Yeah,
Cannot wait.
Yeah, so he's definitely number 9. That's going to be somebody to watch out for. Very long, lengthy guy that can get out and catch the ball. Just another target for Siebenek to go after. Yeah. So now you're Garrett Siebenek, and you've got Brandon Ford, who's out there catching everything around him. You've got Savion Colbert, who's catching everything around him. Angelo Colazzo, Chris Steele, Sean Allgood, Alec Rafa, Jay Sean Sanders. The team, they've got some guys.
Sounds like we're talking about the Browns, to be honest with you.
Sean Jr., man, he's not just limited to the receiver position. That kid's an athlete that can line up on a couple different positions on offense. So it's going to add an even deeper, amount of plays that can be ran for Buzz Edwards. And
Buzz got a utility knife there.
I was going to say the benefit.
He wants with it.
The benefit the benefit that Buzz is going to have is there's going to be a couple guys that don't have to play Ironman football the entire game.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to take more than 3 or 4 plays off during the game to catch a break.
You had a guy you had a guy out, Savion Colbert, that we were talking about. 4 plays is all he took off that entire game.
Yeah.
4 plays.
It was probably probably 4 special temes plays.
Yeah, four plays. But he only took 4 plays off. Most of y'all watching this couldn't play 4 plays. And that kid played all but 4 plays. So, that's going to be helpful there. Lakeside, for if you guys are watching, Buzz, his brother Lou, who even though he is silent, but that dude is hilarious.
That cat is deadly. Let me tell you, I did not know what to think. I met this dude. I think he spoke 3 words to all of us, and I've never seen
the word you're looking
go
for is
like him.
Stoic. The man is stoic until it was football time, and this dude was like Bobby Knight. It was awesome, but
it was like watching Joe Rich and Brad Johnson come together and just knocking walls down that weren't even there. My goodness. It was great to watch, though. I love seeing it. It shows how much passion that man's got for the game.
I was nervous about messing up. I was like, oh, damn.
Mind you, so everyone knows he's about 10 feet from us. He was up in the crow's nest, too, which we had no idea was going to happen. No idea. And I think he was up there on purpose so he had more room to, whatever, kick and punch and whatever he was hitting. He had more room to do it because below us there's not a whole lot of room. It was great to watch, but
he's Frank Murphy from F is for Family. If
Coach,
you've ever seen that show.
Edwards, both Coach Edwards, Fry, the whole Lakeside staff, all you Lakeside kids out there, you had a tough week. That's a hard pill to swallow. They end up losing the game 19-21. They do get the ball back, but there's an offensive penalty along with a defensive penalty. So it runs off the clock. So they don't even get their one shot at redemption to throw it downfield. And I'll tell you what, West Geauga's lucky because Siebenek, even though he had a tough night with some of the interceptions, the kid has an absolute shotgun on his shoulder. And I had no doubt that he could have made it damn near to the end zone. But it ends up, that was last week. This is this week.
Yep.
I firmly believe in Lakeside this week. That's going to be my pick of the week. Lakeside over Chagrin Falls. They go to 1-1 this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I
co-sign with that.
Honestly, it was so much fun to watch these kids play, but it was even more fun to be there with you guys and experience that as a unit, because that's the first time we've been together doing a podcast together. And God in heaven, that was so much fun, man. As you guys know, I wasn't the biggest high school football guy. You know what I mean?
Now you know why we are.
About it. We had talks about it. Tom, you just got to get excited, man. That's just what it is. And oh my God, being there and Sam, like we were 6 feet away the whole time, but like I swear to God, we were like giving each other hugs through mental stuff. You know what I mean? Like that was amazing. And Ryan Cole, God in heaven, man.
No,
my videography skills. I'm gonna sharpen them up a little bit. It's not perfect, but they'll do. But let's.
If you stop trying to zoom in the thing like you're shooting a film for,
I will not.
Like you're
I will
George
not.
Lucas.
Hey, I'm trying my best for the audience. Let's just put that out there. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about
see that play?
I'm sorry, Marcus Parker. You'll be excited. We're going to talk a little bit about St. John putting it on Chalker this week. Sammy, what was the score of that game?
Those boys put it on Chalker 34-14.
Good night.
And let me tell you, we got two area statistical leaders on the St. John Fighting Heralds right now. One is Seth Thomas. Seth Thomas, let me make sure I get all these stats correctly. Seth Thomas threw 309 yards on 17 attempts, 4 touchdowns.
Craziness. High school football player, by the way. BTW.
High school football player.
That's better
on
than
a program,
Sam Darnold on a good night.
On a program that did not play 11-man football last year.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. It was only 7.
They come out for their home opener this year. Seth Thomas throws for 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Now, Seth Thomas had a guy that was making his day a hell of a lot easier.
Yep.
And
coming
that guy,
4 receptions, 155 yards with 2 touchdowns. Craziness, Mr. DeSalvatore, which I've heard a lot about this kid, and that's why I am super pumped about Friday coming up to film them taking on Grand Valley? No, Pine-Tuning Valley. PV.
Listen,
yeah, so
when we cover them this week, guys, it is not going to be hard to find that kid. David DeSalvatore is an absolute unit. He's huge. The kid's in shape. He's got long arms. He's tall. He can catch. It's going to be fun to watch this kid play. I knew he was going to be special. I didn't know he was going to be four catches for 155 yards and 2 of those 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean that's over 40 yards a catch, or almost 40 yards a catch. That's insane. That is insane. I'm super excited about it.
He's not the only one, because they have another kid who ends up with one of the receiving touchdowns, but he goes 2 catches for 60 yards. And this kid is a freshman. Demario Hanna goes out there, two receptions for 60 yards, season opener, freshman year, 2 catches and pay dirt.
Yep.
St. John, I'm telling you, people, you can overlook them all you want to, but the numbers don't lie.
Yep. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them.
I mean, you put together all their numbers, they had almost 400 yards of 400 yards of offense. That ain't nothing to shake your head at.
Yeah, 400 yards of offense for a 22 to 25 man roster school, somewhere in that ballpark area. That's it. Just genuinely insane numbers. I mean, to put up 400 yards on a Friday night, crazy numbers.
And then you had rushing attack too, like the rushing attack. You had David Fuentes, man. Kid I know, my best friend's nephew. Kid comes out there, and you want to talk about, he's built kind of like a Mack truck too. He's in that Charlie Taylor mold. He comes out there. He comes out there
46 yards.
46 yards.
Yep.
And has a couple receptions, and I believe he had a touchdown receiving as well.
He has a receiving touchdown as well. So he ends up being, that's really in Ohio high school football. If you're a running back, and for any of the kids watching or the parents of children watching, kids that are Owen's age, if you're a running back, it's not learn to just run the ball. If you don't have hands, there's no time. There's nothing to do.
Wow! So, look at this stat. Look at this defensive stat.
They allowed 3 yards in the air.
Didn't know that one. Did not know that one.
I need those defensive stats.
Yeah, we need them.
All stats. All stats.
All of them.
Yeah, we could not. We didn't have any. Oh no, yes we did. We have some defensive stats. I apologize. Actually, we'll talk about the leading tackler in that game is a kid by the name of Devin Mercilliot. Now, you want to talk about Devin Mercilliot's another kid that I know him personally just because of how long the kids have been there, and I've watched this kid start from the league we coached. To go all the way through St. John's ups and downs, and is now getting to play, getting some big time tackles on defense. Another one of the leaders out there was a guy that the local newspaper does a write up on, Dan Miller. Yeah. Dan Miller ends up with 6 tackles. So really a hell of a game for St. John. I love to see it because I'm going to tell you this. I know that those kids are in great shape because they got A-Rod running the conditioning and the strength. And if you don't know who Alvin Rodriguez is, check him out. You'll understand what I'm talking about. You got Marcus Parker out there getting these kids right on the wide receiving group. Curtis Turner's out there coaching. They've got Coach Bento. They've got Coach Delgosh. These kids, I knew they were going to be coached well, and they showed it on week 1 when I think people were writing them off already. They're like, oh, it's St. John. It's St. John. Well, yeah, it can be St. John because guess what? St. John's got 2 of the statistical leaders in the area.
Sure do.
You know what's really crazy for me? We see these names. Dude, I was their teacher when they were in elementary school. And they were these goofy little kids talking to me about Pokemon and Walking Dead. And now they're out there doing grown men shit. Sorry for my language there.
Oh, you know
they're
what?
out there doing grown men shit.
Listen,
by the way, Daniel.
By the way,
damn Daniel.
David DeSalvatore. Not only does he go ahead and grab 4 receptions for 150 yards on offense, the kid goes ahead and gets 2 sacks on defense as well.
Yeah,
that's a day. The kid had a day.
Yeah.
David, put those numbers up again because he was very, very close to being our player of the week this week. But you can't take that away from Ethan Yost because the man did his best impression of Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. That's a tough spot to be in, man.
Yeah, the answer to your question, John, is at their level, at the Division 6 level, do I believe in St. John? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that if they're going against another team that has between 20 and 30 kids, I'm putting St. John up against any of them. Now, are they going to be able to be super competitive with, teams with 40, 50 kids? Maybe not. I don't think they're going to lay down. But, it wouldn't necessarily be fair. But I'm taking St. John against any other Division 5 or 6 around.
Interesting. I don't know how many kids they field. That will be the interesting. I don't know if it's going to be their first true test.
The kid just keeps piling it on.
I mean, what else?
There's a lot of kids.
2 holes in 1 on the golf team.
What is it?
Come on.
Am I going to start calling this kid Jim Thorpe?
Did the kid shoot 7 under at Hemlock? When we weren't looking? Jesus, man. Now I feel so inadequate as a human being.
Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, let's
Go ahead,
so yeah, it's going to be fun to watch St. John this week. They'll be playing Pymatuming Valley at home, their first home game this year. Again,
and
guys,
we'll
be covering that one.
To cover that game live, folks.
On Friday night, kickoff is at 7:00, if I recall. We should go live around 6:30, somewhere in that ballpark area. So
looking forward to getting an eyeball, some eyes on another county team that we just didn't have the time to get down to. It's not a slight toward Pymatuming Valley. There's no slight toward Grand Valley either. We are just 3 men who work regular jobs and are pressed for time sometimes. So we didn't get a chance to get them on. You can believe by this time next year they will be.
Hell yeah.
So we're getting an idea. We're gonna get a look at Pymatuming Valley this week too.
So we got a couple more games to cover. Let's see. Conneaut defeats Grand Valley. So those are 2 teams. Conneaut coming off a 9-1 season, starts the season up. I do believe they were home, if I recall right. I'll have to look at my notes, but
they were.
Home. They defeated. Actually, I don't remember the score. I think
Grand Valley 35-7.
Yeah, 35-7. So with Mr. Jake Slayton threw for 104 yards for Conneaut that day. So just a good game by Conneaut. like to see them come out, be excited. I think we'll be covering them about week 6, I think it is. I think that's one of the last games of the regular season that we cover.
Yeah, so Jake Slayton is
week 6.
not just 104 yards. Jake Slayton, Conneaut, for those of you who don't know, Conneaut runs a 2-quarterback system.
Mhm.
So Jake Slayton threw for 104 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns in a 2-quarterback system where he only got to throw the ball a total of 9 times and completed 6 of those. He didn't stop there. The kid rushed for 46. What did he rush for? No, I'm sorry. So he has 4 rushes for 20 yards, which isn't crazy, but you remember this kid's a quarterback. And the other big thing to remember is kid is coming off of an injury.
Yeah. It wasn't a knee injury?
Yeah, it's a knee injury.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's still, impressive, man. Good for him.
So he throws, he's quarterback, I guess, A, and then quarterback B is a kid by the name of Kiefer Mandalegio. And if I butchered your name, let me know.
Let's just be realistic here. That's butchered. That's like, could you imagine me trying to spell that?
Yeah. He goes out there.
Keyfor.
Kiefer. Mandalegio, excuse me, whatever it is. He goes, he has 4 passing attempts, or 5 passing attempts, which he completes 4 of them. Throws for 82 yards, and he also throws for a touchdown.
Hey, so that means Conneaut almost put 200 yards of passing up on him. So
yeah,
it just shows that double-headed attack. Because when we were talking to, I can't think of his name right now, the head coach. I probably the one name I always
Coach Rocco Dobrin.
Coach Rock. Sorry if you're watching, Coach, but that was one of the things we talked about was that 2-headed monster in the backfield. Yeah, we probably won't. But to see him put up 200 yards, I can't be too bad.
It's Mandagello. Mandagello. Thank you. I will get that right for the rest of the year. Mandagello.
Can we just call him Jello from this point forward?
No, Ryan. Can they just call you Cole? No.
Yeah, they can. They can. They did a lot. It was actually for a long time there was Ron, but that's just that's for all the folks that played football with me. But anyways, yes. Go ahead.
Another thing we're talking about is we talked about with Geneva. They run Geneva runs a wing T where it's super, super heavy run based. Conneaut had 6 different people with a rushing attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
6 different people with a rushing attempt, including the guy that they did say to watch out for, which was Zach Rice, who ends up with 44 yards on 14 attempts. Anthony Nunez, he ends up with 20 yards on 7 attempts. And Jake Slayton, I already said, 20 yards on 4 attempts. Jake Slayton, who's playing quarterback. It's impressive. The kid's coming off of a knee. And he goes out there, puts out those numbers. He deserves a tip of the hat. Conneaut, we're not slighting you. I can't wait to cover you guys. It's going to be fun to watch.
It'll be week 6 against LeBray, the name that we just haven't heard in decades. It feels like I didn't know they were still in school. I hate to say that, but it's been a long time.
I think week 6 they're going to get a full dose of a La Loss because Dobrin ain't playing.
No, he's not. Let's talk about a little bit about Jefferson. So Jefferson does struggle against Niles. What was the final score of that game?
So the final score of that game is actually 35-3. And I want to clarify something. I want to get something clear in the air because Jefferson didn't really get a fair shake in the coverage that they got in the Youngstown area. Making it seem like they were this completely inept team that went down there and got their face cracked in. That is not the case. We got to watch the highlights from that game.
No, John, settle down. We're going to elaborate. Settle down.
It's 35-3. They call that game because of weather in the third quarter. Okay. So at the end of the third quarter, they call the game because of weather. But Jefferson has 2 scoring plays over 60 yards apiece called back in that game. One of which is their dynamite little running back Bruckman breaking out and nobody's within 15 yards of him. It gets called back. kills the momentum. They have a second one. I believe it was a pass. Gets called back. Kills the momentum. So you put those two out there, and it's a whole different ball game. So, maybe Jefferson, Coach Rankin, and the boys were the butt of some jokes down in the area for that night. But I can promise you one thing: it wasn't that bad. You guys really didn't get out on them like that. And if you guys play, and if they played them again, I would put my money on Jefferson to beat them boys because Jefferson's tougher and they got better heart.
And they got a man named Brandon Hanna who takes it personally and isn't going to let those mistakes happen again.
No, like I said, they were moving the ball.
Some of the factors you got to put into there. You got a first-year head coach. I know he was quarterback for quite a few years at a couple different places. First-year not head coach. I'm sorry, but offensive coordinator. It's going to be interesting because
a lot of these teams, what I was talking about. They were moving the ball.
Right. It's going to be interesting this week coming up just to see how they make their adjustments. That's what the best part about football, in my opinion, is. I love the halftime adjustment because you never know what you're going to come out with. And you got a whole week. Jefferson takes on Hubbard this week at home. They got a whole week to prepare for Hubbard. They figured out what works, what doesn't work. Sounds like those running plays do work. They do run a spread offense out there with, I think, a first-year quarterback too. So sometimes the nerves out, getting going.
They can write off the passing game if they want to, but it's not a good idea. They got some boys out there in Jefferson that can catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, they do.
They do, and it's going to be fun to watch them this year. Watch them develop. A lot of younger guys. I think what do they have? 5, 6 seniors on that team, if I recall right.
Four seniors.
Four seniors on that team. So there's going to be a lot of development going on right now.
Playing.
Yeah, a lot of development going on in Jefferson, but that's another team who's got to put it together. They will. Might take a little bit of time, but they will. So
there's some talent out there. If you overlook, mark my words, if you overlook the Jefferson Falcons, you are going to be overlooking the scoreboard because they're going to come out and get you. The kids play hard. That game, I'm telling you, that game was not indicative of what that team can do.
Absolutely.
Moving into I do believe this is the last team that we haven't talked about yet, but it was the Edgewood versus Perry. So Edgewood offense stumbles versus Perry. I know they had a key injury in that game. What did they lose? I think it was 50-0.
50-0.
50-0.
Yeah, 50-0. They take a shot
right off the year.
Yeah, they take a shot right off the year. Perry's a good squad, though. We've heard quite a bit about Perry. That's not a bad team to take a shot from. So it kind of is what it is. Butchko and the Warriors over there need to shrug their shoulders, hold their head up high, and they're moving on this week coming up. Who do they play this week?
We cover
Geneva.
them against the boys.
Yeah,
in Geneva.
Yeah, Geneva, and that's going to be a tough game for them. But I think
I'm looking forward to it. Now, so one of the big things with this game that Coach Butchko and his boys struggled with, Isaiah Harris gets hurt. Has a shoulder injury. He's out. He's a major component on both sides of the ball. So it's very, very difficult to kind of mid-game come back from something like that, to be able to, and Perry is the type of the team. Perry will score quickly on you. I'm not taking anything away from Perry. Has always had an offense that's ready to go. They're ready to go
every time.
They just had a tough time getting the ball moving. Winchell was, had a rough night. And it's okay. It's okay because that's how you start the year. But one thing I do want to say is the same thing I was saying about those boys from Jefferson. I'm going to echo for John Butchko and the Edgewood Warriors. Don't you dare overlook them and don't think that this is an indication of the quality of this team, because Edgewood is stocked up with athletes, and they've got a defense that can quietly do that. Defense is what I'm most disappointed in because they're better than that. Now, Isaiah Harris not being out there is a huge problem because he's the big man in the back that's going to keep those guys out of the end zone. Edgewood's going to be all right. Coach Butchko is going to get those boys back on track. I am very excited to watch the two styles go against each other this week.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's going to be
you guys
wing T versus spread. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
It's
this
gonna
ain't
be
just
interesting.
a regular spread, baby. This is like we're
90% pass spread.
yeah, we're throwing it 11 out of 10 times. Like these boys, he can run the ball too because they got a kid in Brian Bisbee that is a good running back. You know what I mean? One of the top rushers in the area last year. But they've got kids all over the place. And Edgewood's offensive line is one of the biggest in the county as well, size-wise. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of turns around and what that does. Edgewood and Geneva, while people are looking on paper and probably maybe they don't think it's going to be competitive, I promise you it's going to be more competitive than you think.
The question's going to be is does Scabona and Taylor are they faster than the Edgewood offensive line? That's really exactly what it's going to come down to. Yeah,
because this game is going to be who outshines who. Do Ben Scabona, Charlie Taylor, and Pete and the rest of the boys, are they able to put up more points than Edgewood with Bisbee and Winchell and Isaiah Harris, is assuming he's going to come back and be healthy? Are they going to be able to outshine those guys? And in two different types of offense. I will tell you this. I think that Edgewood lines up well size-wise against Geneva.
They got about the same amount of kids, 40 to 50 kids, and then physical size wise. But they do. It's just a matter of,
if you're not doing anything Saturday night, tune in to 440 and Goal because we're going to cover Edgewood versus Geneva. That's going to be live streamed from the Spire. That's going to be on Saturday night. And on Friday night, we're going to be covering St. John, who had a quarterback who threw for 300 yards and a wide receiver who had 155 yards going against the PV Lakers. Covering them on Friday. It's going to be a hell of a week for football, guys.
Speaking of some stats, why don't we shout out some of the highlights so far that what we have?
Yeah.
I know you still got them in front of you. So stats so far, you want to run down some of the highlights. County leaders that we have. Again, guys, we're missing a couple, so once we get it updated, we'll change it. But
so the county leaders right now, as it stands, the top passer is Seth Thomas out of St. John High School. Seth Thomas went 309 on 17 attempts, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Second place right now is Garrett Siebenik. He threw for 265 yards on 35 attempts. He had 3 passing touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions and a fumble. Rough night, but overall, the kid put up some pretty decent numbers. Coming in fourth is the kid who's splitting time in Jake Slayton. He throws for 104 yards on 6 attempts, throws for 2 touchdowns. Behind him is his cohort, Kiefer Mandagello, and he goes 82 yards on 5 attempts. He has 1 passing touchdown, no interceptions. And then Ben Scabona, the quarterback that nobody knew could throw. Ben Scabona goes 69 yards on 7 attempts with Matthew Pete, the offensive coordinator, turning it to 11, baby. Pumping up the I gotta send him a shout out because as we're covering the end of the game and everybody's hyped there, he comes down from the press box. He's like, "How you like that, baby?" I was like, "Yes, this is why we do this. This is why we do this."
Yep. Yeah, he was pretty hopped up. It was a great game. So don't forget, guys, before we get out of here, Friday night we cover.
Hold on. I did say that the area rushing leader is Charlie Taylor with 107 yards. Right now, the closest person to him from the stats that are available to us at this point is somebody with 46 yards. No, excuse me. No. It's Jay Sean Sanders with 46 yards, and then in second place is Ben Scabona with 43. So
there it is.
So St. John taking all the passing and Geneva taking all the running.
There we go.
So, don't forget, guys. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Real quick. Listen, guys. So we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but it's time to put it into action. We now have our 440 and Goal Fantasy League set up, ready to go. We've got 6 spots available. Okay, 6 spots. So right now, me, Ryan, Sam, and Nick Billman are in the Fantasy League. We need 6 more people. So if you guys want to message us, if you want to like DM, slide into one of our DMs, you know what I mean? However you want to do it, let us know. We're going to put it together. Whoever gets in, we will announce by Saturday who the 6 people will be in the league if we have enough. Okay, so you'll get your invite, and it's going to be a good time. That's all I got. Oh, Felix Rivera, that's my new coworker. That's my new coworker, man. I love that kid.
Felito!
Felito.
Listen, that kid, his drip is almost as hard as mine at the dealership. Almost. But he's got a Gucci belt that he wears. I
You
can't
know what?
compete with Gucci belt.
I heard that you can take azithromycin and that'll clear up.
I might
A
be
Gucci? What? I don't know what you guys are talking about.
He said he's got drip.
Oh, drip too hard.
No, drip too hard. Call it what you want, no matter which way you look at it. On Friday night, we will cover St. John versus PV. On Saturday night, so the night after Friday, just so everyone knows, Saturday night will be Edgewood versus Geneva. Looking forward to those games. It's going to be a great weekend. Really pumped about it. Friday can't come soon enough. So that's the show tonight, boys.
Listen, guys, pay attention. Go look at 440 and goal for all of your high school football questions, for all of your high school sports questions. If you haven't noticed, every time we catch a stream, some of the non-football streams we put out there so far are volleyball streams. Anybody who has streams, their school is streaming something. If you bring it to our attention, we will stream it to the site. If you have a question for high school sports at this point, we want you to come check us out so we can try and provide you this in this time where nobody can go watch anybody. I'm super excited for this Friday. I really am.
Friday night. St. John versus PV. It's going to be a great game. So this is Ryan. I'm getting out of here. A little bit of a short night tonight. I'm kind of pumped about it. I'm not going to lie. Get a little bit of extra sleep. But we'll see you guys on Friday night coming up. I'm out of here.
Are you going to run that highlight reel on our way out? We may as well.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I got it.
So listen, the last thing I'll say before he puts that up is the stats. We're waiting on a couple of schools for the stats. We'll update them, and then we're going to put the county leaders. It's probably going to be the top 3 in rushing, unless the other 2 schools have big rushers. It'll be the top 4 passers, top 3 rushers, and the top 3 receivers.
All right, so we'll see you guys later. Don't forget to follow us over on Facebook. We do stream on YouTube, and we do have an Instagram account, and I forgot to put Twitter, so go tweet at us or whatever that's called. Should be great. We'll see y'all on Friday. Big deuces.